What's up, YouTube family? Okay, I know put my mic on, but hopefully you can hear me. If y'all been following me, you know I had the Adam here. Show it back to you. I'm still waiting to hear back from him, and I'll tag the last video I did somewhere in here about my Adam 7V here burning up, my T7V. If you can see the gold ribbon driver has just burned itself to a crisp. This is normally a gold ribbon. I'll show you on the other Adam, but I'm pretty sure if you all know speakers and monitors, you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, so it looks like it's a common issue that happens with the overload of voltage going to the ribbon driver, and that voltage over time fries it, and it can happen from playing them too loud, which I know that's not my case because I'm in a small room, and I typically, the louder the music is not necessary for me. I need it nice and low for my mix downs at a nice calm level listening volume. So that's never been the case. Leaving them on, they don't have an automatic shutdown like their sub does. Adam has a sub and has an automatic sleep mode. These don't. So that could have been an issue, but at the time the ribbon burned up, nothing was on, which was weird. That was really weird. I did write Adam. I haven't heard anything back. They supposedly have a 5-year warranty on them. But yeah, looks like what happened. It took, it's probably a burned out capacitor or something in that nature that probably tripped this thing out. And took it out. I'm not mad at Adam. I'm not against Adam. I think maybe some fail safes need to be put in place, or some things where they don't necessarily keep repairing these things. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of get in there and keep it from happening. And of course, just cautionary stuff. Just don't leave them on unless you have speakers that already have a sleep mode or something like that. So, yeah, I'm still waiting so I can get this back in to repair. I was going to send it out to a regular repair shop, but they're still under warranty. Why pay a repair shop to do that when I could just send it back to Adam, or they can send me one and I can send this one back. But anyway, that's what's going on. But right now, I got some new monitors in. Let me say this. I'm still an Adam fan. I'm going to be upgrading my studio to even better model Adams in the future. I'm already worked. That was the plan until this one burned out, and I had to hurry up and get some substitutes. So I'm about to show you my substitutes, and I guess between them, this new company, which you all know, and Adam, is kind of like a horse race. It's like one wins by the nose. They're right there, and one wins by the nose. To me, some people say, it's slightly a step down. Some people say it's slightly a step up. It all depends on who you ask. You know how this audio stuff goes with DJs and producers and the whole gallery of tech geeks, and stuff like that. So let's get into it. And I think from the last video, you guys already know, I should have an idea of who I'm talking about already. And here they are. Good old Cali. This is the LP6V2. I was going to do the VA, what was it, the 8s? But I didn't do the 8s, only because I knew that eventually I was either gonna go into a higher level of Adams, or I was just going to probably go into a whole different monitor situation altogether, because I've also been looking at Focal and stuff like that, and a few other ones to consider. I just need something decent for my room. I don't want to overdrive my room. I needed something that had a good flat response. The 4.4 is a good monitors to tune from your computer, from a laptop, or from behind, and they give me a good flat response if I want, and or I can tune them to give me some better mid-range, a little better bottom that complements the subwoofer and stuff like that. But I like doing mix downs on that one. I was thinking about just buying another couple of those and just using those. You know, the options are there of buying the next step up. I just can't think of the model right now. But yeah, I'm tearing open the box. Got these from Sweetwater. And here's the studio monitor quick start sheet, you know, which kind of familiar with this. Basically, I'm gonna get it out the box if y'all just bear with me. Sweetwater never fails, right? With the candy, they never fail. They never fail. Power cord. These look like little pads to go up underneath, I'm assuming. More and more styrofoam. Lord, Lord, Lord. I might use this. I think I might use this. Spray it black. I think I got an idea. Trying to get it out of the box here. That's weird, because I thought it was going to be in a big white box, and it wasn't. It was just in a little brown box. Okay, so here it is. Let me unwrap it. I do notice a weight difference. These seem like they're a little heavier. All right. I figured this was a good compromise. I had 7s. These are the 6.6, I believe. You know, what's cool about it, I like that, you know, you get a lot of the bass and the breathing coming from the front right here in this port. I like this integrated tweeter at the top. You know, that's really dope. It's going to give you a little bit, and that tweeter, you're going to get a little bit more highs and mid-range as a combo here, I think. And then, of course, a 6-inch woofer. On the back, just standard stuff. You got an RCA, and you have, you know, your 1/4 inch. You have your XLR, and I'm going to show all this to you guys. And the dip switch, the legendary dip switch. So here it is back here. So, and I'm kind of breezing through this because there's tons of videos on this already. But you know, your power switch, your XLR, female, looks like your volume control, your dip switches, and your RCA and 1/4 inch right here. So at the end of the day, that's pretty much it. They have a diagram. If you guys aren't familiar, and if you haven't watched 100 videos on this already, they have this diagram on the back. And the diagram is what helps you set the dip switches. So if you're monitoring on your desk, or if you're monitoring close to a wall or a little further from a wall, you can set the dip switches to help you set the room. You know, I have programs on my system where I use reference mics and stuff like that to measure the audio in my room to help me get my room precise to how I like to hear it. The only drag about this whole thing that I'm not liking is now I have to retrain my ears to a whole nother monitor system. So yeah, that's the that's the drag for me right now. I really. Now I gotta learn some monitors all over again. Hopefully when the Adams come back, I may put them back up, shelf these, or I might find I like these Calis and keep the Adams shelf for a while or whatever, or I'll just have an extra set of monitors in case I need them for if I expand the studio anymore, do something different. But you know, audio people, you know, we always collect and have, and we rarely get rid of anything, and we just have shelves and shelves full of speakers, full of monitors, full of interfaces, full of controllers and decks and duplicators and compressors and all, the whole nine, you know. So yeah, a lot of stuff to move. If you ever had to move quickly, that's a lot to pack up. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give these a try. I'm going to come back, pause the video once I get all these hooked up, and we'll see how they sound. Okay, guys, I'm back. As you can see in the background, the Adams. Let me see if I can zoom. I'm using my phone, so let me see if I can zoom. No, it won't let me zoom, but I'm trying to back up. You'll see the one burnt out Adam, and you'll see the other one over there with the gold ribbon still there. Took my sound treatment down away from my windows because it's getting hot in here, but when I do vocals or when I'm doing something heavy, I'll hang them back up. They're like theater drapes, you know. What I'm going to show you, I'm not noticing a major difference in sound between the Calis and the Adams. I'm really not. It's not that much of a difference. They are slightly flatter, but I mean by a small margin, not by a large margin at all. I'm going to let you have a brief listen to a track that I'm working on for Shay Ali called More and More. If you guys haven't already, support my track that I just did with Stan Zeff. I Feel Sexy. It's available for download pretty much everywhere, and it's the Afro mix. And then my wife Bree J just did a beautiful track called Breathe. I want y'all to check that out. I mentioned that in the last video. But anyway, I want to show you guys this situation. Okay, so right now, let me see if it'll zoom back. There we go. All right, I'm working on this track now. There are the Calis right there with the blue light on. They give you like a little blue light indicator. That's where they're positioned at in my studio right now. And I'm not noticing much of a difference. I'm using my Apollo Twin. I'm not using the big rack mount or the big desktop. I'm using this one right now because it's good from my little setup right here. And yeah, I spent stupid money, like 18, 20 bucks for a 5-foot cord at Guitar Center with this live wire. You guys let me know in the comments if it's even worth it, because I think that was just greatly overpriced. But either way, guys, let's let you listen and you watch where the volume meter is over there on the Apollo. I'm gonna hit the space bar. I don't know how well you guys can hear that, but there's the levels. I'm gonna bring it up. You will hear some rumble from the subwoofer. Let me see if I can silence that sub for you. That's the monitors without the sub. Yeah, so briefly, I'm trying to get out of this bright light, but briefly, only have the volume behind the Callies turned slightly past 12 o'clock. So we're going to say they're probably pointing more towards 1 o'clock. I was thinking about maxing them out and then just controlling everything from the board, but I'm probably going to put them around about, turn them up to about 315, somewhere in there, and leave them, and then I can push from here. But typically, that's how I like to hear everything. So when I'm doing mix downs, even with, if you notice, my 4.4 still hooked up is what I usually do my mix downs on, because it's extremely flat. These are all set in neutral right now in the natural sound. They're just straight flat. There's no dressing, no 2 dB up or 2 dB down or anything like that for to get more bottom or anything, because I have, the sub. So yeah, I got to retrain my ears on these and see how they sound, and go from there. So that's going to be my new challenge in the studio, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it wasn't a lot, but I mean, this is a big transition for me. Hopefully I can get that Adam fixed and everything, and yeah, go from there. And now it's time for me to retrain my ears to something else, because seems like the Adams, were a little bit more colorful. You heard it with the sub, you heard it without the sub. So there you go. And I control my sub from a foot switch, that way, if when I want to hear the club, because I do a lot of club music, so when I want to hear that boom, 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 I push down. When I don't, I take it off, so I know where everything is, and it helps me out. But if you can get a good booming sound out of some flat response speakers, and you can get your good mids, and you can get your good highs, and you can get good vocal and instrument separation and those frequencies off of these flat response speakers. When you move it over and drop it into a situation where you got a sub, or you playing it in a car or radio, it should be right there, because if it sounds good on these flat, you're going to have a good mix otherwise. So that's it, guys. So it's time for me to get to learning. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Stay on the channel. Got some new music videos coming up soon and stuff like that for you. So off the new tracks we got. So stay with me.